Well, a cannibal has been arrested after his dinner guest changed his mind and called the cops. What am I talking about? The would-be victim from Switzerland answered an internet advertisement from a 43-year-old man seeking someone who would agree to be killed, cooked, and eaten. He claims he thought the offer was just a fantasy game, but after speaking to the guy on the phone, he realized he was deadly serious. So he called the Swiss police to inform them of what was going on here. So, undercover officer posing as the victim in a sting operation went in to catch the suspected flesh eater. Officers moved in to arrest the man, and a gunfire broke out, and the man and one of the police officers were shot. It appears, according to the police, he was genuinely interested in eating someone. Boy, that'll ruin your breakfast, won't it? Guy puts an ad online looking for someone who's willing to be killed and eaten, and somebody actually answered it. I'm getting more and more scared by the internet every time I think about it. Or maybe it's not the internet. Maybe it's the people out there. Is it a chicken and an egg? Does the internet make people do crazy things, or are they crazy to begin with and then they just use the internet? I don't know. Awkward transition to Ann Doyle from Ann Doyle Strategies. She's a journalist, an auto executive, leadership consultant. Where do we go from here?
I wish you were in my car here in Detroit, Michael Patrick, so I could hear it all. I listen to a lot of you whenever I can, but oh my goodness.
Thank you very much.
Give people something to talk about all day.
Welcome back to Detroit, by the way. You just had 2.5 intense, exhilarating days, I understand, in New York, hanging around with some pretty big shots, huh?
I had to pinch myself for the last couple of days because I was invited by General Electric to attend their 9th annual Global Executive Women's Leadership Conference. And I was one of 183 women who came from all over the world to be part of this 2.5 days of not only just a power-packed agenda with big name speakers, but really, I mean, when you sat down at dinner, there wasn't a bad seat in the place because everybody in that room was pretty phenomenal. And, yeah, it was really very inspiring and tons of content for me.
Let's go down the list if I can, just for fun, because I'd like to get your reaction. The Bush twins were there, President George W. Bush's daughters?
Not only the Bush twins, but their mother, Laura Bush. The three of them were there.
Okay.
And, of course, they had Secret Service, throughout, all the doors of the room that we were in with them. The thing that surprised me, both of those daughters are Jenna and Laura. They're both doing very, very interesting things. They're out there, they're working, they're making a difference. And the thing that actually surprised me the most, Michael Patrick, was Laura Bush herself, because she was very articulate and she was very passionate, particularly about women and her concerns about women in Afghanistan and women in the world, and our responsibility to help them. And I thought, gosh, I wish you had been able and willing to raise your voice more while you had that incredible platform of First Lady of the United States. She was a very, very quiet First Lady.
You didn't tell her that, did you? Did you?
Nope. I'm just glad she's using her voice now in the way she is.
The daughters are particularly Jenna. Jenna makes the speaking rounds. She was in Detroit not that long ago. She's fairly outspoken, but the daughter, Barbara, I think doesn't have quite as high a profile as Jenna does.
Well, actually, because Jenna is on the Today Show, she's a correspondent for the Today Show now, and so, right, she's got quite a high profile, but Barbara, named after her grandmother, she's actually doing work in other parts of the world and has created an organization that is that they're all about teaching and bringing education to other parts of the world and underserved areas. And so she's right. She is definitely making a difference. It's just that you don't hear about it that much.
I see. Okay. Now, Kathy Lee Gifford was there, too?
Kathy Lee Gifford, in a lot of ways, was the entertainment. She was the light on the program. But I was actually, it was refreshing to hear some of the things that she had to say. But they had Hoda Kobe, I guess is how she pronounces her name,
Yeah.
K-O-T-B. They're the co-anchors on that fourth hour of the Today Show. And Hoda was a journalist, had been a TV broadcaster. And Gifford sees herself as an entertainer. And it was Gifford who had to say to Hoda, hey, throw away the cards. Stop being so dependent on the schedule and what we need to talk to. That look at me and talk to me.
Oh,
I'm here.
really?
And she's pretty authentic.
Now, did you or did you not take your book called Powering Up, How America's Women Achievers Become Leaders, and walk over to Kathy Black, the chairman of Hearst Magazines, and invite yourself to the party and say, cover this in every one of your magazines?
Yes, I not only did that, I now have business cards. The primary business card that I'm using now is, on one side is the cover of my book, and on the other side, of course, is my phone number and email. And I gave out about 250 of those business cards. And, but you know what was fantastic is every single woman there was so excited about my book, and many of them were downloading it back in their rooms.
Is that right?
These women, and they're sending it to their HR directors and saying, hey, we need this book. So it was a sweet spot for me in terms of my book.
Gloria Steinem was there. Always been somewhat controversial. Did you get to see her or talk to her at all?
Well, and it was funny because I was actually with Gloria Steinem 2 weeks ago in New York and talking to her, so I thought, I can't believe this. With Gloria Steinem 2 times in a couple of weeks in my life was pretty exciting. The thing that was amazing about Gloria Steinem to me is that General Electric introduced her, and she brought her in there for this group, and that she was the final speaker. She was in a very, strong position on the agenda. And she received a standing ovation from the entire group, but also they did something fantastic. They had, when they introduced her, they had 4 generations of a woman in her 50s who's in charge of GE's Executive Development Center, a woman in her 40s, a woman in her 30s, a woman in her 20s, and each said a couple of sentences about how Gloria Steinem changed her life. It was very powerful, and I thought to myself, you know what? The auto industry, companies today would never invite Gloria Steinem because they would be scared to death she'd start a revolution.
Yeah.
And that's the difference with General Electric and where we are with our auto companies today.
How did Christy Turlington look?
Oh, my gosh. Do you know what Christy Turlington looks like?
Yeah.
She's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But, she is doing tremendous work right now, about maternal health throughout the world. And she's done a fantastic documentary, and she is working very, very hard in all parts of the world. And her, she's got a new documentary that, every mother counts. And she's,
hey, we're talking about them. I hope they're all talking about you wherever they are now that the conference is over. It's Ann Doyle, and you can find her book, Powering Up, How America's Women Achievers Become Leaders, wherever books are sold, or at Ann Doyle Strategies. It's Michael Patrick Shields, heard all across the state of Michigan. Randy Richardville, Senate Majority Leader, coming up next. There may be some movement down the street today. We'll tell you about it when we get back.